Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I am here on this very beautiful and very early Tuesday morning in Austin, Texas. That's right, guys, I'm trying something new. I'm going to try to put up a podcast every day now. Going to get up a little early, get my cup of coffee, get woken up, and then do just a little podcast every morning. So you guys fire back. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on the Facebook group, on Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter personally at SlimDayspring12. And I also just set up a Patreon page. That's right. You don't have to pay to listen to it or anything like that. I haven't set it up like that yet. But it's just another avenue for people to listen to Dayspring Discussions, so you can go and enjoy this wonderful podcast that I try to put out. So like I said, I'm starting something new, trying to get in a routine here every morning doing a podcast. I'm about halfway through my first cup of coffee, so if I don't seem that lively, guys, hopefully that'll change as the episode progresses. So let's just get right into it and get going. Les Wiseman. Yes, that's right. Les Wiseman, the director and writer of the first two Underworld franchises, is looking to get an Underworld TV show made. He's shopping around right now trying to get someone interested in an Underworld TV show, and it looks like he's hopefully going to do a cable or digital platform. At least that's what he's hoping for. Wiseman has confirmed it will be a departure, though, from the film franchise that starred Kate Beckinsale, revealing that it will be less comic book in tone. He said, quote, "The series will be a pretty big departure from the films. I don't want to say it's more adult, but it's definitely less comic book in its tone and characters." Now, the Underworld franchise has had 5 films come out so far. The last one, Underworld Blood Wars, actually has a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes and only pulled in $81 million worldwide at the box office. But it did perform considerably better in foreign markets than it did over here domestically in the States. No network is attached right now, so we don't know when this potential series might be coming our way, but he's working on it. The first 3 Underworld franchises are solid. I really like them. I really enjoy them. Lisa, my wife, she enjoys them as well, but the last 2 have been crap. As far as the idea of a TV show, I'm all about that. I think that kind of story with the blood feud between the vampires and the Lycans is something you could definitely work with. My only fear would be the budget, because to create the Lycans, you're going to have a pretty good budget to make them look good. And given the fact that this franchise has dwindled, I don't know who's going to be willing to invest that much money to make it look good. Now, the franchise has starred Kate Beckinsale, who is, I believe, still Les Wiseman's wife. If, I didn't catch up on my gossip, but I think that's still true. Kate Beckinsale, major hottie. My wife actually said Kate Beckinsale is one of the few actresses she'll, quote-unquote, play for the other team for. I don't believe she's going to be involved in the franchise, although to be fair, I'm not sure exactly what else she's doing with her career, so she could at least have a guest starring role, maybe, or something like that. But I think I'd rather see the franchise start something completely fresh. Don't be attached at all, really, to the previous films. Just be its own thing. The movies, the main focus of them were Celine and Michael. Michael being the catalyst that kind of drove everything, that he was a hybrid between vampire and Lycan. I don't want to see that. I'd rather see just a straight up war or straight up feud between vampires and Lycans in modern day world, and what all happens between that. Like I said, I think the first few movies are very good films. They are very entertaining. I'm not a big horror guy, but I do have a soft spot for vampire and werewolf films. So thought it was very well done. Kate Beckinsale did a great job in it. The problem with this franchise is started with the 4th film. And I'm not sure what exactly happened, if it had to do with the writing or what they couldn't do. But in that 4th film, Underworld Awakening, they had the character of Michael without showing the character Michael, played by Scott Speedman in previous films. Now, I know Speedman was working on a TV show at the current time, so maybe he didn't want to be involved in the movie. But if that was the case, you either shouldn't have shown the character at all, or you should have waited till he was free or something, because the way Underworld Evolution left off, it was Selene and Michael on the run. So you had those two characters that we had grown attached to, that we were following their storylines for 2 films, and I thought it was a great storyline. But then you fast forward to the next film with Kate Beckinsale, and you had Michael without showing Michael, and I think that was a really big problem. They tried to skirt around the issue that they couldn't get Scott Speedman, but if you couldn't get Scott Speedman, you shouldn't have had the character of Michael in there at all. Or you could have went back and maybe done like a little prequel of Kate Beckinsale as Selene before she found out the horrible truth about her parents and how Victor had betrayed her, and just as a death dealer. That would be cool too. With the new series, I can see that being kind of a good premise, where you do have the character Selene or a death dealer working for the vampires, and also maybe dealing with the lichens as well. I don't know, but the idea of Underworld is solid. It's just a matter of how you craft it. And they haven't crafted it very well in these last couple of films. The last one, Underworld Blood Wars, oh my god. I remember I sat down and watched that on DVD, and I want that hour and a half of my life back, because it was just horrible. Especially considering how good the first couple of movies were. I'm very disappointed about how far it's fallen. So taking this franchise, putting it into a television series, revamping it, and hopefully doing well, I think could be good for it. Okay guys, moving on to our next subject. A trailer has dropped for the 3rd film in the Maze Runner franchise, Death Cure. The film is set to come out January 26, 2018, and the official synopsis is this, quote, "In the epic finale to the Maze Runner saga, Thomas, played by Dylan O'Brien, leads his group of escaped Glanders on their final and most dangerous mission yet. To save their friends, they must break into the legendary Lost City and WCKD-controlled labyrinth that may turn out to be the deadliest maze of all. Anyone who makes it alive will get answers to the questions the Gladers have been asking since their first arrival in the maze." So the Maze Runner, 3rd in the series, it's based off a young adult franchise set in a post-apocalyptic dystopian society. The books have sold over 10 million copies worldwide and has 2 prequel books in the series too. The trilogy was picked up by Fox in 2011 and has such come out with 2 films, The Maze Runner and Maze Runner Scorched Trials, that have gone on to make $660 million worldwide. So this 3rd film, Death Cure, is going to be directed by Wes Ball, who's the same guy that directed the previous 2 films. Now this film was actually delayed. It was supposed to come out in February of this year, but when the main star, Dylan O'Brien, got hurt on set, they actually pushed the production back. It's going to come out almost a year after what it was originally supposed to, giving O'Brien time to heal and make sure everything's set right for the film. So the Maze Runner film franchise, to me, is very low-key. You had several years ago when you really had that boom of young adult books being turned into movies. Now, I wouldn't count Harry Potter as a start to this craze, because I really don't consider Harry Potter young adult. I think it's in kind of a genre all its own, but I think Twilight definitely falls into it, and I really blame Twilight for starting the craze, and also the fall of the vampire and werewolf genre, in my opinion. Just to go on a little rant about that, vampires don't freaking sparkle, okay? Vampires, again, like I said before, when we were talking about Underworld, I'm a big vampire werewolf mythology guy. I like the tales of them. I love the old 80s style vampire movies where a vampire would first lure you into bed usually, and then after she was done with you, she'd have a little snack, which again was still you. And werewolves, of course, being very cool. American Werewolf in London. They took these great white sharks on land, vampires, and made them into these sparkly, almost, God, like a My Little Pony version of vampires. And, ugh, Twilight pisses me off so much. But not only that, but they started a string of young adult films based on books that, for the most part, were crap. You have Hunger Games, which people enjoy. And I don't have as much hatred for Hunger Games as I have some of the other things that have come out that are based on young adult books. But Hunger Games, for me, my wife Lisa loves the Hunger Games books as well as the Harry Potter books and the Twilight books. Go figure. And after we saw the movies, she was like, don't you want to read the books? And I'm like, no. If anything, after seeing that last film, I don't ever want to read these books. I think the second film in the Hunger Games franchise was very well done, probably my favorite in that franchise. But the way it all played out, I have no interest in reading that at all. And there have been other young adult films that are based on books, series that have tried to come out. You do have the Divergent series, you do have the Mortal Instruments series, and they've all kind of fluttered a little bit. And Maze Runner is one that I actually got attached to. I was cruising on HBO Now one night or whatever and looking for something to watch, and I saw Maze Runner was on there. So I'm like, okay, well, I know the second film's coming out in a couple weeks, so let me check it out just to see what it's all about. And I actually enjoyed it. The ending is a little iffy, to be honest, but for the majority of that film, I enjoyed it. So then, when the sequel came out, Maze Runner Scorch Trials, I went to go check that out. And you know what? I enjoyed that as well. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about this franchise. I enjoy it. I can see why some people don't enjoy it, especially since it's got kind of a stigma of being based off a young adult book. This franchise I've enjoyed, so I've been looking forward to this next film. And I think a lot of it has to do with the main character, Dylan O'Brien. I think he's a talented actor. I think he carries this franchise very well. I think without him, it doesn't work. So the fact that he got injured and they delayed everything to wait till he was healthy, I think is great. Delaying the film for the year because O'Brien was injured, I totally get that. I think it might hurt the film a little bit because the longer you go between sequels, the more you lose your audience, the more interest in a sequel you have. I was going around looking for kind of a description of the trailer online, and my normal websites that I go to actually didn't post about the trailer, which makes me believe that, yeah, this film franchise isn't popular, but they're still getting made, they're still making money, and I, for one, again, still have an interest in the franchise. Now, I've thought about possibly reading the books. Heaven forbid I read something that doesn't have thought bubbles and pictures and all that stuff, according to my wife, but I might actually try to check this one out, or maybe even do an audiobook of this one, because like I said, I have enjoyed this series more than any other young adult films that have come out. So I'm enjoying the franchise. I'm anxious to see where it goes from here, and I don't know if there's going to be a fourth film. I don't know how many books there are in this franchise, but in any event, I'm looking to see where the next chapter is because I'm enjoying it, and we'll look and see where it goes from there. So, alright guys, that's it. Now it's time for you to fire back. Let me know, do you think it's a good idea for Les Wiseman to make an Underworld TV series? And did you see the new trailer for Maze Runner? Let me know what you think about that too. If you enjoy the franchise like I do, or if you could care less, let me know. Or if you want to send me some hate mail as to how I bash Twilight and Hunger Games, go ahead and do that too. I don't mind. That's it for me, guys. Hit me up on the Facebook group, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find us now on Patreon, like I said, so check that out. And then find me personally at Slim Dayspring 12 on Twitter and Instagram. And that's it until tomorrow, guys. May the Force be with us all.